Single dad walked into the bathroom and suddenly saw a woman. What she said next left him stunned. Sometimes, the most ordinary moments hide the most life-changing surprises. One quiet afternoon, a tired single dad stepped into a bathroom expecting nothing more than a few seconds of peace. What happened instead would stay with him forever. What a stranger said to him in that small, echoing room didn't just catch him off guard, it cracked open a part of his heart he didn't even realize had been locked away. Before we begin, if stories about real emotions, unexpected kindness, and meaningful human moments touch your heart, please take a second to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. You're watching Heartfelt Moments, where small acts of kindness turn into powerful stories. Mark Reynolds was 37 years old, a single father of two, and always exhausted. Life hadn't turned out the way he'd imagined. His wife had passed away 3 years earlier after a sudden illness, leaving him alone to raise their children, 8-year-old Lily and 5-year-old Noah. Every day was a balancing act of school drop-offs, packed lunches, late bills, and quiet grief that never truly went away. That afternoon, Mark had taken the kids to a small community center in Ohio that offered free after-school programs. Lily was in an art class, and Noah was chasing other kids around the gym. Mark sat on a hard plastic chair, staring at his phone, worrying about rent that was due in 4 days and a bank account that looked painfully empty. His chest felt tight. He stood up, told the volunteer he'd be right back, and walked toward the hallway bathrooms just to breathe. The bathroom was nearly empty. The fluorescent lights hummed softly. Mark leaned over the sink, splashed cold water on his face, and stared at his reflection. Dark circles under his eyes. A man who looked older than he was. That's when he noticed someone behind him. He turned quickly, startled. A woman stood near the far sink. She looked to be in her early 40s, wearing a simple blue sweater and jeans. Her hair was pulled back, and her face carried a calm, gentle expression. Mark immediately felt awkward. "Oh, sorry," he said. "I didn't know anyone else was in here." She smiled softly. "That's okay. I was just washing my hands." Mark nodded, embarrassed, and turned back to the sink. He grabbed a paper towel, ready to leave. Then she spoke again. "You're doing a really good job," she said quietly. Mark froze. He turned toward her, confused. "I'm sorry?" She met his eyes, not smiling now, but sincere. "I said, you're doing a really good job. I saw you with your kids earlier." Mark felt his throat tighten. "You did?" "Yes," she said. "Your daughter was showing you her drawing, and you stopped everything to look at it. Your son fell, and you ran to him like nothing else mattered. I just thought you should know that it shows." For a moment, Mark couldn't speak. No one had said anything like that to him in years. He let out a short, nervous laugh. "You must be mistaken," he said. "I feel like I'm failing most days." The woman shook her head gently. "Most parents who care deeply feel that way. Especially when they're doing it alone." That word, alone, hit him hard. "How did you know?" Mark asked. She paused, then said softly, "Because I was once a single parent too." Mark felt something shift inside him. He leaned back against the sink, the noise of the lights fading into the background. "I lost my husband," he said, surprising himself with how easily the words came out. 3 years ago." Her eyes softened. "I'm so sorry." "They need me to be strong all the time," Mark continued. "But some days, I don't know how much I have left." The woman nodded slowly. "When my daughter was little, I used to cry in grocery store bathrooms because I didn't want her to see me break down." Mark felt tears sting his eyes. She reached into her bag and pulled out a folded piece of paper. "I don't usually do this," she said. "But today felt important." She handed it to him. "What is it?" Mark asked. "Something that helped me when I felt invisible," she replied. Mark unfolded the paper. Inside was a handwritten quote. "You don't have to be perfect to be exactly what your children need." His hands trembled. I keep copies of it, she said. I give one away when I feel someone needs it more than I do. Mark swallowed hard. Thank you, he whispered. She smiled again, this time warmly. One day, when you're stronger, you'll pass that kindness on. That's how it keeps going. A volunteer's voice echoed down the hall, calling for parents. The woman took a step toward the door. I should go, she said. It was nice meeting you. Mark wanted to say more, but all he managed was, you have no idea how much this means. She paused at the door. I think I do, she said. Then she left. Mark stood alone in the bathroom for a long moment, staring at the paper in his hands. For the first time in years, he didn't feel completely unseen. When he returned to the gym, Lily ran up to him, holding a colorful drawing. Daddy, look. I made this for you. Mark knelt down, pulled her into a hug, and smiled through tears. It's perfect, he said. That night, after the kids were asleep, Mark taped the quote to the refrigerator. Every morning after that, he read it before starting the day. Weeks later, Mark noticed a young mother struggling with a crying toddler at the grocery store. He remembered the bathroom, the woman's voice, the paper in his hand. He smiled at the mother and said, "You're doing a great job." Her eyes filled with tears. And in that moment, Mark understood something powerful. Kindness doesn't need grand gestures. Sometimes, it only takes a few words, spoken at exactly the right time, to remind someone they're not alone. If this story moved you, let it remind you that your words matter. Your kindness matters. And you never know whose life you might quietly change, just by noticing, caring, and speaking from the heart.